Hey everybody, this is Liam Bowler, and today's video, I'm going to spend a few minutes talking, well, maybe a couple minutes talking and then a few minutes doing a breathing practice for kind of a somatic meditation, particularly around my own experience in how to, I don't know, not necessarily even move through, but kind of encounter anxiety in a way that feels helpful. And I guess really the only thing I have to say about it before we maybe spend a couple minutes doing a breathing practice together, if you'd like, is this sort of dawned on me, and I imagine this is alive and well in other traditions, but I don't know, I just kind of stumbled upon in a breathing practice where you're maybe sitting and following the breath with your attention. So not necessarily doing anything deliberate with your breathing, but bringing your attention sort of resting on the breath like a ship might rest on top of the ocean, sort of moving with the tides. Within that, especially the times if I'm in a pretty anxious space, there's a feeling of like, if I was to give words to it, where the inhale is this like, yeah, and then the exhale is this sort of like, I've got to kind of get this out of the way before I can start drawing life in again. But the nature of anxiety, in my experience, is it's never enough. There's never enough. I can never get it in fully enough. And talking to a few people, I think this can have a similar vibe for a lot of folks out there. So if this does, like a lot, well, some of what I've done here is, it's been a bit of turning this model on its head, or this sort of feeling. And what in sometimes osteopathy, as I understand it, is called an indirect release, where we take something a little bit deeper into the pattern, listening for how it might release, as opposed to a direct release, meaning you take the thing, my head is rotated this way, we go, directly bring it to where we want it to go. An indirect release would be dropping a little bit deeper into that place, often very, very subtly, but sort of listening to the unwinding that can happen when the movement completes. You can envision like a black hole right in the lungs somewhere, like something is drawing us in, something's drawing the attention in. So, spend 2 minutes right where you are, if you'd like, in a comfortable seat. You can start with your breathing, and I love that image if you have another that resonates with you, but you can have your eyes open or closed for this. I have mine open just to keep me really here with you, where if you're not just diaphragm, but really the whole breath, moving and maybe right away for now, set to rest any idea of breathing as sort of a therapeutic intervention, and bring in this. We want to really see where it is. Like if we were wanted to get a photograph of some rare wild animal in the woods, right? We would need to sort of maybe set aside that feeling of like, all right, we're gonna find it. Here we go, and really like, okay, where does this thing live? What does it smell like outside? Sort of starting to feel for this rare wild animal, like how can I sort of become it a little bit more? And in that way, our attention sort of becoming the breath a little bit more, where it actually is. So both feeling that inspiration, inspiring, that inhaling part of the respiratory cycle, and then today, especially, both, right? But noticing that tracking down of the expiration, the expiring, the death of the inhale. So it drops down. And for me, what's been helpful is also really noticing if there's lingering in the top of the inspiration as it sort of curves over to the expiration. And importantly for me, this has been sort of the keystone, at the bottom of the exhale, not holding your breath. I'll speak for myself, not holding my breath, but noticing sometimes at the very bottom, I might pause, or there might be a pause in my system for a minute or 2 or 3, where there's a little feeling, or sometimes a big feeling, of in the bottom of that exhale, kind of a like unwinding. And then whenever the inspiration comes, the inhale, the exhale, and listening, like in the bottom of that, is there something that sort of needs to be said, or more, a little more air that comes out, or again at the bottom of that air, maybe a sort of a deep myofascial sort of unwinding. So very important for me in this is it's not a manipulation of the breath per se. I'm not holding it out. Pardon if I'm beating a dead horse here, but it's a pretty simple concept and we have to talk about something. And again, now maybe to get the feel of that ship on a wave, ship on the ocean. So I'll close this video. You can, of course, do this for as long as you'd like. It can be a really nice, I often set a timer for like 15 minutes, give or take, if I have that. But even a few breaths where I bring my attention to that. I think often we associate exhale with like, right? And I'm inspired. Oh, he's expiring, right? It's kind of downward. Feeling for the, not just vitality in my structure as I exhale, but the vitality sort of waiting to come from that unwind. Hope this helps. It did me.